An empty canvas is the beginning. Art is about creation.
State is the first champion of the new conference. For Coach Everett Case and Team Captain Thompson, the traditional spoils. Another great year for North Carolina State basketball.
Art is about emotion.
Are you kidding me? Jesus Christ, out loud! Ain't nobody can beat you like that. Come on, Ed. Come on, fire,
Art has no limit.
I praise the Lord for the many blessings in my life, and I feel I'm overflowing. So thank you very much.
Art is about heart and feel.
And that team taught me the persistence, the idea of never, ever quitting. Don't ever give up. Don't ever.
But ultimately,
the Cinderella team has done it. The glass slipper fits.
Art is about expression.
It takes more than tall guys dunking balls to keep a champion team on top. So meet the Wolfpack coaching staff. Head coach Everett Case is in his 10th year as master of State's Cage Fortunes. He's a brilliant strategist, precise teacher, and strict on fundamentals.
Everett Case started big-time basketball in the South, and in many ways, big-time basketball in the country.
Daily training routine starts with some footwork exercise and a simulated shadow boxing routine.
Back then, basketball wasn't important in North Carolina. And what he did is he made it important for everybody.
In the past 20 years, basketball rules have undergone many changes. With these changes have come success, popularity, and tremendous spectator appeal.
When Case got here, the popular sports was football, baseball, and swimming. His goal was that he would have a basketball goal on any driveway in North Carolina.
He was a true basketball Jones. He slept, ate, everything was basketball.
He wanted to build what he called a palace for the basketball team to play in. It would host national tournaments and regional tournaments and be the home court of NC State, and that's when Reynolds Coliseum was born.
Last stop, the William Neal Reynolds Coliseum, where North Carolina State has led the nation in on-campus attendance.
When I walk into Reynolds, I feel nostalgic. I feel 12,400 people screaming and yelling, the excitement and the joy, the exhilaration of watching NC State basketball.
Players huddle in a circle and have a hand clasp for good luck. This procedure is sort of a basketball tradition.
Coach Case brought a lot of things here to Reynolds for the first time in college basketball, like net cutting.
Coach Case is hoisted to the shoulders of his jubilant players to cut the nettings from the hoop. And the popular state mentor finds it a real pleasure.
We all had a good chance to cut the net down. It was a good tradition. It looks like it continued on because everybody else does it right now. He had a couple devices that he originated, and one of them was a spotlight, and he had the hollering machine.
As it went up, the crowd got louder and louder and louder. It was more of an instigator than a measurement.
We just knew that whatever was the latest, the greatest, the ultimate, we had it.
Coach Case's 11th year comes to a close with 9 conference championships and 6 Dixie Classic crowns bulging in the trophy case.
He founded the Dixie Classic, the top tournament in the country.
He had all the key major colleges that were coming in.
And no one ever wanted except the Big Four. And Case wanted it over half the time.
Wake Forest versus State in the tourney final to decide the first champion of the new Atlantic Coast Conference.
The Southern Conference had teams from all over. Bigwigs in this state, basketball minds, got together and broke away from it with the 8 teams for the Atlantic Coast Conference.
He set the tone at NC State and in the ACC and in the South, really.
And 82-80, State is the first champion of the new conference. For Coach Everett Case and Team Captain Thompson, the traditional spoils. Another great year for North Carolina State basketball.
Everett Case brought big-time basketball to the South when he first came to Raleigh, and it's just grown and grown.
Everett Case, you plant seeds. Coach Sloan, he nurtured that seed, and he grew that seed.
Keep on playing beautifully. Tim, you're doing a great job on him.
I loved Coach Sloan. He was the most competitive human being I've ever been around.
Norm Sloan's team has shown the poise that carried it through 31 consecutive wins against conference opponents. One of the finest teams in college basketball history.
Coach Sloan was tough. He was disciplined. He was a great, great coach.
Let's get a little movement, a little passing and movement, because they're getting awfully tired.
Coach Sloan was Stormin' Norman.
Grind, grind, grind.
He was intense.
Ain't nobody can beat you like that. Come on, boy. Come on, fire.
Sloan was fiery.
Come on, Monty, be alert, Monty. Elbow, don't foul,
and competitive.
And work.
And kind of hot-headed.
He would yell and get upset, but then again, he knew when to calm down.
The more we keep them on defense with this score tight, the tighter they get. The more it just eats them up. It eats them up.
He really took on that identity of playing hard defense.
Beautiful. That's it, David.
He was very strong about fundamentals. His 2 and 3 pass away defense, opening it up to the ball.
Don't walk, shuffle out.
Help defense, weak side. Fundamentally very strong.
I think a classic example of a ball club that has proven what you can do with a lot of effort and some talent mixed in.
Go! Steal it, back, steal it! Get up, back, get up!
He won more games with less talent than anybody.
Norm Sloan's Wolfpack are the nation's #1 rated team. Led by All-American David Thompson, they are favored to win the tournament.
And when he had the great talent, Thompson, Rivers, Stoddard, Tao, and Burleson, when he had those guys, nobody beat him.
It's all over. The Wolfpack celebrate victory in a game of games. A battle, according to winning coach Norm Sloan, between the two best teams in college basketball.
He's probably one of the most competitive guys I've ever met.
When we got within striking distance, I wanted it for them. How often do you get to 25-0?
And the more they start winning, the more flasher he became. And he was probably one of the best dressers in the ACC.
You knew where you stood with Norm. Even with that plaid sport coat, you knew underneath was a heart of gold.
Thompson tries and shoots and hits. They have done it. The Wolfpack has won the national championship.
The jacket I'm wearing now is the one that Coach Sloan wore in the national championship game. I don't deserve to wear this coat. It humbles me to wear this coat because this was Coach Sloan's coat, and I cherish it, and I think most Wolfpackers do. It just brings back a lot of memories and a lot of feelings for a great man.
Our plan, ever since I've been in coaching in a situation similar to that, has always been the same. And this is something I picked up from Coach Case.
But coaching is not just on the floor X's and O's.
Whoever has McMillan, really get up on him tight and make him go by.
Some guys are players, coaches. Norm was. Some guys are great recruiters. Coach Sloan was.
Coach Sloan brought us together as a team. He was a great teacher.
Now, many things we have to do, but one thing we do have to do is you two guys have to run home and get every missed shot.
He was the captain of the ship. He was steering us to where we needed to go.
Jim Valvano would have loved Everett Case, and Everett Case would have loved Jim Valvano.
Norm Sloan left.
Here in Raleigh this afternoon at a news conference, NC State University announced their new head basketball coach replacing Norm Sloan. He is 34-year-old Jim Valvano.
He looks like an entertainer more than a coach, but there's something fun-loving about him.
When I came for the interview, I played very hard to get, and I said I would take a multi-week contract, and that's what he gave me.
He had this presence about him that was inviting.
He could fit in anywhere. He could fit in any little small town in North Carolina, or he could fit in New York City.
Everything I do, to me, is exciting and ties in to help me be a better person, which is gonna make me a better coach.
V was larger than life, but he was as human as possible.
He was at Iona College, and he saw me play as a sophomore, and he said, Ernie, in 2 years, I'll be back to get you. 2 years later, he was at NC State.
When Jim Valvano first got to the ACC, they didn't know what to make of him. It was prim, it was proper, very disciplined.
Certainly every season, my goal is going to be the same. I want to win national championship.
His coaching approach was serious, you know, but he still treated you like a man, and he expected you to be ready to play.
A lot of people didn't really take to him right away.
Didn't know what to think at the time, but there was something that you felt good about Jim Valvano when you met him for the first time.
The proudest and happiest moment of my life is as I stand here before you right now.
We just knew that whatever he told us, we believed in that. And we knew he believed in us.
He was an inspirational coach. When you came into the gym, you came ready to play.
When you enjoy playing for your coach, it's going to carry out onto the floor.
Jim understood the history and what it meant to be the coach at NC State.
He had an energy, a reserve, and there was no way you could not be enthused by being around him.
Jim Valvano was a force of energy.
We run through a wall for him.
Always on, never down, up, up, up.
And usually, the team takes on the personality of a coach. So if a coach is tough and it's competitive, usually the team is tough and competitive as well.
I kept telling Dave, Gavin, the committee, run the clock, will you run the clock? I mean, that was the longest 4 minutes I've ever spent in my life.
Much of what motivated me as a player was not wanting to let him down. He slept about 4 hours a night, and every hour that he spent awake was, you better bring your A game if you're going to be around him.
He wanted to lean on the players a lot more in terms of strategy and the players having more ownership of the team. That what makes you want to work for those guys and want to play for them.
Going to be taken away by Wittenberg. Wittenberg stops, pulls up for three, and he nails it.
He got you ready to play. You knew what every team was going to do, and you know, and how they were going to do it, and every play they were going to run. Oh, he had guts.
Welcome to a sold-out Reynolds Coliseum in Raleigh.
Well, we knew something was special when we beat Carolina here in the regular season.
To low. And this place is going wild.
Earl, Sidney, Witt, those were our three senior leaders, and they were a big part of why that team was so successful.
But I think winning the whole thing just tops it all.
Because whatever V wanted done, they made sure everybody did it.
The number one goal was to win the championship. That's why we were here. That's what we dreamed about doing.
Let me tell you what the 83 team means to me.
Going to Pepperdine, winning a double overtime game, then come back and be the number 2 team in the country.
This is outside. Pearl Bailey rebounds. Bailey again.
Jim says, we just got to keep surviving and advancing.
Survive and advance, a phrase to live by. If you got us to the 3-minute mark and it was a game, we had a shaman on the bench who told us you can't lose.
It was just kind of the magic of the cardiac pack. We all felt like, hey, we're going to win this whole thing.
The NCAA championship game between Houston and North Carolina State is about to begin.
For 2 days, all you hear about how great Houston is.
He played in the ACC. Played the number 1 team in the country 6 or 7 times.
All Jim Valvano has ever asked for is to be in a position at the end of the game to win.
We look like we're going to lose. I mean, guys on the bench, head down, Sidney Lowe fouls out.
Wittenberg, oh, that's a long way.
Always a pass.
Lorenzo Charles slams it in. The Cinderella team has done it. The glass slipper fits. The Wolfpack has won the national championship.
And then you see him running up and down the court looking for someone to hug.
To look back and realize from those dreams as a little kid hoping to one day play college basketball.
And there is the happiest man in America,
about to celebrate what, in my opinion, will go down as one of the greatest coaching jobs in the history of this tournament.
The impact that the spirit of that never give up team had on them, I'm blown away every time I think about that. And then to think it might impact a cancer treatment, cure, the road to a cure. Holy cow, that's I can't even take that in.
Nobody talked about cancer in the 90s until Jim Valvano put it on the forefront.
It cannot touch my mind, it cannot touch my heart, and it cannot touch my soul.
It's fitting that Jim Valvano, his biggest legacy, his biggest impact, has come outside of basketball and sports.
I urge all of you, to enjoy your life, the precious moments you have, to spend each day with some laughter and some thought, to get your emotions going, to be enthusiastic every day.
It was incredible because he was so sick, and it was so tough just to get to that moment. And, again, you put a mic in his hand and something happened with Jim Valvano that I can't explain.
And that screen is flashing up there 30 seconds like I care about that screen right now, huh? I got tumors all over my body. I'm worried about some guy in the back going 30 seconds, huh?
Came from his heart. That's how he really felt in his dying days.
The '83 team taught me about dreaming and the importance of dreams.
He inspired people well beyond sports that night.
His legacy is more than just basketball.
If you have someone with a dream, you have a motivated person with a dream and a goal and a vision, if you have someone who never gives up, who has great hope, the persistence, the idea of never, ever quitting. Don't ever give up.
The Lord took him early, but whatever he could do right to the end, he did. That's why he was so inspirational.
Don't give up. Don't ever give up.
Well, KL was a lot like Jim Valvano and a great coach.
The two were so alike in so many ways, and they saw life the same way.
We're actually here to do something really special and moving tonight. It was 15 years ago on the SB stage that the great Jim Valvano shared those simple yet inspiring words.
Don't give up. Don't ever give up.
To hear his speech was one of the most moving things that I think anybody could really be a part of. At that time, he was, as we know, in the final stages of his battle, different from Coach Al at that time.
It is my great honor to present the first Jimmy V. SB for Perseverance, my dear friend, Kay Yao.
It was really a way for a person who had given so much of herself and who was battling cancer, in the very throes of it, to receive that kind of reception when the award was given was just really pretty cool.
My staff and my team, they had a mindset of, I will, not I'll try. Knowing Jim, I know he'd be pleased today that I'm receiving this award in his memory.
She was the first woman hired full-time in athletics in this state, as far as I know, in the ACC.
She was a gold medal Olympic coach.
KL was one of the leaders in making college basketball for women the strength that it is today.
Off the court, you loved her. She was an incredible woman. On the court, she'd tear your heart out and show it to you while it's still beating.
Run out here and sit down, play deep.
Keep your hands ready. Way to talk, here we go.
Coach Al used to say, people say I coach basketball. I'd like to say I coach people.
This is a team.
Kay said, this is a place that we're going to build something that will last a lifetime.
NC State might be a team of destiny.
So in the 06-07 season, Coach Al took a 16-game leave of absence. She was undergoing significant chemo treatments. The day before we were to play North Carolina, we were in practice. Coach Al wasn't feeling well at all. And it looked a little bit more extreme than it usually did. The players don't know if she's coming, staff doesn't know if she's coming. And so she arrives, the players erupt. It was just this incredible example of the human spirit.
Here's Ashley Key for three. And NC State is going to get a great win for their coach.
The students rushed the court. We had just beaten North Carolina, and K.Al Court was unveiled. She spoke to the crowd, and it was a moment of her heart was overflowing with gratitude.
I praise the Lord for the many blessings in my life, and I feel I'm overflowing. So thank you very much. Thank you.
So Kay started Hoops for Hope.
The emotion of the day, senior day, and the Hoops for Hope, can you kind of summarize what this day's meant to you?
You know, I can't even find the words to express it. Of course, the seniors are close to my heart. The battle against cancer is close to my soul.
From that first game, we have gone now to Play for Kay and the K.Al Cancer Fund.
Just take a game on your schedule and turn it into a fundraiser. And to see young girls that are just starting to play basketball and they have on a K.Al shirt. They never met K.Al. They have the opportunity to learn about her.
Play in pink is very powerful because when we play for Kay, we are playing for a cause greater than the outcome of the game.
Those games are so impactful because every game is being played for all survivors of cancer. But the traditions are ongoing.
Excellence, love, mission, the tradition of the wolf.
This right here is a tradition that Coach Al developed. That's K.Al.
My team flew cross country. We participated in the NCAA Sweet 16. I had to have a nurse travel with me. I even had an IV on the plane.
She'd been in the hospital for several weeks, and the team kept asking, could they go see Coach Al? When we went into her room, she was sitting in her chair, and she had humor. She smiled. And that was on a Wednesday. And she passed away Saturday morning. And to me, that was her last gift. So at this moment, I'd like for all survivors who are in attendance today to come to the front of the crowd.
Kay, until her death, knew that her cancer was to benefit others.
She took cancer and put a spin on it in a positive way that if you will get involved and join in and help her fight with her team, you're going to help somebody else.
We wanted everybody to be able to participate to support and uplift survivors. So survivors are at the centerpiece of everything we do.
Jim Valvano and K.Al, those are two coaches who are so impactful beyond basketball, but in terms of cancer research.
With ESPN's support, we are starting the Jimmy V Foundation for Cancer Research.
He inspired people well beyond sports that night, and to think all these years later.
Cancer can take away all my physical abilities. It cannot touch my mind, it cannot touch my heart, and it cannot touch my soul. And those three things are going to carry on forever.
Now we can think about all that they left us. The example that they gave of how to fight.
You know, you don't ever want to give up on anything. You know, keep playing hard, don't give up.
When you look back, State really had a lot of tradition. You looked at every case, you looked at our ball club, more or less the start of the ACC.
I was blessed to have that kind of leadership.
Coach Sloan made me understand you may stumble, but you have to get yourself in sequence.
He stood up for NC State, made NC State a national champion.
Well, it's interesting because I learned about Everett Case, Norm Sloan, and Jimmy V from K-Yao. I actually feel like I know the other three in a really personal way.
The Lord's had his hand on me from the get-go, and NC State was a big, big part of it.
Wolfpack for life.